All right, guys, we're still outside of Audley Court. This is a follow-up of the first live stream, and now we've got Smudger Smith. Now, we heard from Gus a little while earlier telling about his discharge from Audley Court. Now, since that live feed's gone out, this guy's turned up. This is Smudger Smith, so he's going to tell you his story of how the system has filled him.
Hi folks, I actually started coming here about a year after it had opened, and I would say that it was really good. Lots of compassion flying about, plenty of staff, and I really enjoyed my stays here. At the time, most of us were getting 6 weeks a year in a 2-week block at a time, which meant roughly every sort of 3 or 4 months you were coming in so you could recharge. Over the years that began to change. Iran and Iraq happened, and of course the need for treatment for those lads was paramount. And it was obvious, it became quite obvious that things were afoot, that some of us would have to be moved on, kicked out, if you like, however you want to put that. My issue really was how it was done, particularly in my own case, but I know with a lot of other lads as well. My visits began to get less and less, and eventually I was just getting 1 week a year. None of the staff here actually really bothered to explain why that was, and my big bind about that whole side of thing is they didn't communicate. I think that if they'd have communicated with all of us at the time, it may have lessened the blow of having to stop coming here. In my particular case, I was told I was at that point still coming here, but just getting the 1 week visit a year. I then was put in front of Dr. I think it was Kieran Fletcher, who was the quack at the time, and he promptly said I could have another 3 years and then a review. That was again 3 years with a 1 week visit and a review.
So since then, when was your last contact with combat stress?
Around 2012.
So 2012, guys,
yeah.
And this guy is still suffering. This is 2018, 6 years ago, and this guy is still suffering.
Yeah.
This guy's been kicked off the system, pretty much the same as Gus has been kicked off the system.
I think that my own sort of view is that you get to a point where, with this sort of illness, you'll get to a point where as good as you're going to be, but you have to maintain that. And combat stress used to do that.
When you talk about maintain that, how are you maintaining that? Are you doing that through the NHS?
No,
GP?
I'm getting nothing. I have to. Frankly, all I go to now is an organisation called the Tri-Services and Veterans Support Association, based at Newcastle under Lyme. It's a hub, and it will help you get supposedly where.
And the distance from the distance from combat stress here in Newport to Newcastle under Lyme is how long?
It's the best part of an hour away. So what you sort of.
And how many times a week is that?
That centre is open on a Wednesday during the day, a Thursday night, and on a Saturday in the morning.
So there you go, guys. So we're talking about combat stress here closed. We're talking about a 24-bed facility not being used, and yet this guy's got to travel over an hour, either in the evening or on a Wednesday afternoon, to have a little chat with somebody in a drop-in centre.
That's it.
And we've seen drop-in centres up and down the country, Bolton being one of them, fighting for funding. So why are these large charities not dropping money to the smaller organisations? I can't see why they can't do that. What is going on?
Yeah.
What is going on?
Well, ultimately, anyway, I was told that I could have these 3 week, you know, like I said, with the review. Well, that's very important to me because to help me cope on a daily basis, I need to know, I need things clear, and I would expect that professional organisations such as this would abide by what they've said themselves. I actually got a further 2 years with 1 week's visit, but then it all just stopped. Didn't get anything else, wasn't officially discharged from here, and I think that's really amateur.
If we look at combat stress's core values, which is quite clearly stated in black and white and on their web pages, they're pretty much failing from their core values. An organisation that's sitting on multi-million pounds, but yet they're failing on their core values.
Personally, I wouldn't rate this organisation at all. No.
So there we have a guy who's in Newport, not getting any support from a general practitioner or a local mental health team or even a crisis team, was once referred to combat stress, now being denied access to combat stress, having to travel to other parts of the country in order to fit into a drop-in centre. But yet we have Prince Henry, and I will call him Prince Henry, although he is known as Prince Harry, but his correct birth name is Prince Henry. Now, it's not long ago, in fact, it's only 4 weeks ago, where Prince Henry actually done a fundraiser on behalf of combat stress and help for heroes, raising to the tune of £100,000. Where's this money gone? £100,000 from a fundraiser. But yet, we've got another guy who's going to be with us very shortly, having to do a fundraiser to be able to rent one of these blocks out in order to put other guys in there. Where's the justification? Can somebody please answer that question? There you go, guys. Once again, we've still got Gus here doing that. And I would like to make an appeal to these guys that are actually watching. If anybody's got a bit of a larger tent, because obviously we need to make sure that Gus is not another statistic and we need to keep him warm. So if there's anybody in the Newport area, any of the big camping shop outlets, if you've got any contacts towards them, can we please try and get this guy a bit of a larger tent? We need to keep this guy warm. He's adamant that he's going to go the full hog and he's prepared to take his own life. We are talking to this guy, we're trying to stand him down and we're trying to negotiate with him the best we can, but he's totally adamant he's going to go the whole way. We'll get back to you soon, guys. Thanks very much. Please share and like this and make sure that it goes mad, because these guys need to wake up. Thank you.
No, I'm jumping here, mate. I'm going to leave this for Gus.
Yeah, well, I don't know where we put it.
On the hedge.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to lower it a bit, short ass.
Oh yeah, cut him off at the deck.